Hello friends! Today we will show you the most touching moments featuring animals and real human heroes. Rescue of Miley the dog. Homeless dogs often live near trash dumps because they can find something to eat there. That's where this poor dog was found. It was so exhausted that it didn't even try to run away from people. Volunteers took it to the vet. The poor dog trusted people. Even when the veterinarians examined it, the animal didn't move, allowing them to do whatever was necessary. They named the dog Miley. It was suffering from bacterial mange. This disease is difficult to cure and requires a lot of care and treatment. After spending some time at the veterinary clinic, Miley made some friends. Just look at these shots. It's hard to believe that this is the same dog as in the beginning of the video. We want to express our immense gratitude to the people who took care of Miley. Rescue of Georgie the dog. This dog was hit by a car. Eyewitnesses said that the driver didn't even stop to check if the dog was alive. Fortunately, there were compassionate people passing by and they called the rescuers. The dog couldn't stand up on its own. It was confused and couldn't understand why its legs weren't working. When the rescue team brought the dog to the hospital, nobody was sure if they could help it. The vets examined the animal and concluded that its spine was injured. There wasn't much hope, but the dedicated vets worked a miracle. Sometime later, the dog, whom they named Georgie, started walking and enjoying life again. If it weren't for the kind people passing by, Georgie wouldn't have survived. Rescue of a kitten. A little kitten fell into a deep drain pipe. At first, the woman couldn't figure out where the cries were coming from. But when she found the source, she was shocked. The drain pipe was very narrow. She had no idea how to get the kitten out. The woman immediately called the rescuers because there was no time to waste. The kitten looked exhausted and terrified. The rescuers spent hours trying to free the kitten. The main problem was the tight space, making it difficult to reach the poor animal. Fortunately, everything ended well. After the rescue, the kitten was immediately taken to a clinic where the vets declared it healthy. Now the little animal is safe and living in a cozy home with its new owners. Rescue of a fur seal. People often harm nature, and animals in particular. For example, wild animals frequently get caught in the nets or entangled in fishing lines, leading to tragic consequences. It would have been the same in this case if it weren't for the diver friends who noticed the poor animal caught in the fishing net and rushed to its aid. They used a large net to catch the fur seal. Then, they carefully and gently removed the fishing line. The animal was saved, and the two friends went home feeling happy over the successful rescue operation. Rescue of a kitten drowning in mud. This cute creature wouldn't have had a chance to survive if it weren't for the people who happened to be walking along the rice fields that day. Fortunately, they noticed the drowning kitten and rushed into action. The rescuers decided to wash the kitten right away, which it seemed to enjoy. They also fed the kitten. These young people have big hearts, and what they did was nothing short of heroic. What would you have done in their place? Rescue of a pig. A group of friends were walking in the forest when they heard some sounds coming from the swamp. A small wild piglet was in trouble. It had fallen into the swamp and wouldn't have survived for long. One of the friends tied a rope around himself and went in to help the drowning animal. After rescuing it, they fed the piglet and released it back into the wild. Rescue of a puppy. When natural disasters happen on Earth, it isn't only people who suffer, but animals too. During a flood, a wave swept away a puppy and carried it downstream. The puppy tried to escape, but it was unsuccessful. At one point, it managed to climb onto a ledge, but then it slipped again. The brave puppy eventually made its way to the shore and climbed onto a rock. Later, it was noticed by a man passing by. The man couldn't just leave the animal there and decided to help the poor creature. After the rescue, he said that he could never leave an animal in distress. He took the puppy to the nearest veterinary clinic. The puppy's owners were also found, which made it a true story with a happy ending. Rescue of a deer. The young of many animals often find themselves in trouble, and in most cases, their parents can't do anything to help them. All they can do is watch their offspring suffer. That was exactly what happened this time too. Fortunately, a local resident came to the rescue. He carefully retrieved the animal and set it free. The moment of the mother's reunion with her offspring is very emotional. Rescue of a foal. A young foal got stuck between trees. As we can see, young animals often find themselves in such situations because even though they lack life experience, they are very curious. This foal ended up in a comical yet tragic situation. Fearing that people might harm it, the little one tried to push them away. But everything turned out well in the end. Rescue of a drowning dog. A couple was walking their pets along the river when their dog suddenly fell into the water. The owner immediately rushed to help the dog. But getting out together was impossible because the rocks were very slippery. A young man who happened to be walking nearby didn't hesitate and rushed to their aid. He jumped into the water to assist the woman and her dog. People who selflessly rush to help others deserve our utmost respect. Helping a wild raccoon. This raccoon got caught in a trap in the wild forest. The poor creature was very aggressive and had a deep mistrust of people who came to save it, and it isn't hard to understand why. The animal was in terrible pain, as well as feeling terrified. Nevertheless, the rescuers were determined not to leave the raccoon in trouble. Sometime later, the fluffy creature was finally free again. It fled the scene without a moment's hesitation. The man who saved it felt happier than ever. Rescue of a fox. This man had been working as a wildlife rescuer his whole life. That day, he got a call from construction workers who told him they found a fox trapped between walls. The man knew that working with wild animals was always challenging because they don't usually trust humans. However, luck was on the rescuer's side that day. As soon as the frightened animal saw a stick, it immediately grabbed onto it, allowing the man to quickly get the fox out. Of course, he had to be extremely cautious since the wild animal constantly tried to bite him. Everything ended well, and the fox was released back into the wild. Saving a puppy. Local residents heard someone crying on the street, but it was unclear where the sound was coming from. After a bit of searching, they found this fluffy miracle. Of course, they took it in and gave it food and water. Now the animal is happy, living with its new owners. Rescue of a wild wolf. Wild animals often find themselves in dangerous situations during winter. Rescuers noticed this wolf suffering from severe frostbite. The predator was so weakened that it lost consciousness. Fortunately, the rescuers knew what to do in such situations and immediately got to work. Unfortunately, all their efforts on the spot were in vain. The rescuers decided to take the wolf to the nearest clinic where it could receive proper treatment. Fortunately, they succeeded. The wolf soon regained consciousness and stayed to live in the sanctuary. And that's all for today, friends. What do you think about people who rescue animals? And which of these situations impressed you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.